What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another cup of conversation,
where we have conversations worth having.
I'm your girl Coco,
And I'm your girl Tee.
and today we are episode 110.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yes. So yes, this episode is gonna be an deep talk into how to refrain from choosing low value men and how to also hold men accountable in a healthy way as a woman.
Okay, so this is like our side of the last episode. Like
yeah, because we still ain't got no
version.
answers from y'all niggas.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
We just...
All we got is what the woman gonna do. What the woman gonna do. What the woman gonna do. The flick.
Yeah, so some of us are not lucky in love. Let's just be honest about it. Regardless of what men do, we just not always lucky in love. And some of us are loyal to certain patterns that we, you know. And I feel like once we can identify that and realize that, it'll be easier to not even come across those men that we have to hold accountable in every aspect of life, almost. Especially on those less complex things that you think are a given, like your character, that you would think that would be something that's just one of them things that's you either got it or you don't. All right.
So in other words, the pool will be a little bigger of qualified.
Yeah, it won't be so
candidates.
pissy like y'all say. You know, it's so pissy. But just talking about how to break the patterns of how to choose a man, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So how are you picking the men that you are picking? And I wanted to identify some of the things that come into play whenever we're picking those things.
Well, come on, therapize me.
Okay, so sometimes we have patterns of men we choose not out of our own trauma and our own like wounds and, you know, self-worth, the way we view ourselves as women. So what are some things that you think that I know I picked this man because I am and fill in the blank?
Ooh, I know I picked this man because I am not having that male figure present. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily daddy issues, because I had males that were present that stepped up and done fatherly roles.
Mm-hmm.
But more so just not having that, knowing what love and knowing how to actually pick a man and letting a man tell you how other men think.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that. Like, you know how you say your daddy tell you certain things about game, and just knowing how other men think.
Right.
From a man's perspective, because women really think they know, but
they don't. I would say I picked this man, and I'm speaking specifically. I'll speak real personal to me. I know that when I picked my husband, because my dad, and I'm saying this in a good and how it has shown up good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
I picked my husband because I was familiar with men being provider, not only as a from my dad, but from like the things that my mama told me. If your man, if he can't give you this, it ain't no sense to give him no cookie. If he can't give you, if he can't give you.
Yeah.
And I picked a man solely based on his provision as far as being a provider, but didn't think about the other boxes like being emotionally intelligent, being able to regulate your emotions. So I feel like I haven't had, I know T say I ain't lived my life, but I haven't really had very negative like relationship issues, even like with my past. But I have been able to identify, to see how if I wasn't the person that I am, I think that it could have fostered into something very bad. Like if I would have ignored signs. But I think that's another one of the things that I think as women we got to stop doing, is ignoring the signs of somebody might not be the healthiest form person for you.
Are some women actually ignoring them, or their parents not showing these signs to them? Like you said, your mom said certain things to you. So, because I say this all the time, I didn't have a emotional growing up. Like my friends were the ones that I talked to about my emotions, or we figured things out together. That wasn't going on in my household. My friends was the ones telling me, girl, we need to have men that, or we need to try, we need to talk to dudes that'll do blah, 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 blah for us and all this. So a lot of, I can't even vouch for, speaking for myself and people I know, that a lot of the signs ain't that obvious to everybody.
Well, when I say ignoring the signs, I mean as far as when you go into one relationship, you might not know. When you go into two relationships, you may not know. But by the time you get to that third, that fourth, and that fifth relationship, there should be things that, like we always say, it's not your responsibility to what happened to you when you were a child, but it's your responsibility to fix it. Yeah. So it's one of them things, like once you realize, okay, I realize that I'm picking men, and I'll put myself in a situation. I'm picking men that are providers, but I'm not being able to identify when a man is emotionally capable of loving me the way I need to be loved. Yeah. And then, okay, what does that mean then? If I'm realizing that I'm only picking men that are providers, what does that mean about me, that I'm missing that emotional component? Mm-hmm. And then going from there and figuring that part out before I get back into another relationship. Right. So not so much that you taught it, but we gotta teach ourselves. It's on the job training almost.
I think a lot of people, and I'm not even just taking up for them or trying to give them scapegoats, but a lot of people know their habits, and like you said, they kind of like Kiera was saying on, I don't know if you watched that Breakfast Club interview with Kiera, the one you said you follow on Instagram. He was saying, like, we know a lot of therapy talk, and there's a lot of people that are knowledgeable about what's going on with them, but nobody has that second half of it, the solution. Mm-hmm. Not nobody, but a lot of people
in their self,
yeah, they know the knowledge. That you are being triggered by certain things. You know that this trauma is coming up in this way in your relationship or your day-to-day life today, but you don't do the second half of it. Right. Because if you're going to look for a therapist, truth be told, that's kind of a tough thing to do. Not just off of the fact that you got to think about money, insurance, all that, but the fact that you got to think about, you have to talk to multiple people till you get to the right one. That's exhausting in itself.
That is exhausting. And I'll give y'all a little tip. ChatGPT. I'm not saying go to chat
and
for
then
everything.
People don't know that they have to pick a specific type of therapist that goes to what they look for. Like, it's a whole lot into it that especially Black people are not taught, since the fact that we just now learning to go to therapy, and it's like system overload. Like, we know all this information. I'm learning a lot right now, but it's all coming so fast that I'd rather just ignore it instead of trying to go through all of it all at once.
And that's one of the things that that I had wrote down. A lot of times we are more what keeps us in those patterns, those negative patterns, is that we feel better to be familiar with something than to be outside of what we're comfortable with. And I wish I had a better answer, but really that boils down to the fact that either you want it or you don't. Yeah. Either you want something healthy or you just rather stay in what you are familiar with, and you get what you're familiar with. And it's 9 times out of 10 probably negative, because you might be, if I think about it like this, some people might deem like somebody boring or quiet or not as chaotic as boring. And whole time, like, look what you asking for. You know what I'm saying? On the other hand, like, you get what I'm saying? This person, you might be deeming him as
normalized.
What you've normalized chaos to the point to where when you get somebody that's calm and reserved, you looking at him like, oh, he boring. Yeah.
But that's why as Black people, we talk about like the other half of Black people, that's the not ghetto ones, as, oh, they act white, or they boring, or they this, they that. Whole time they just a little more emotionally mature. Yeah. They ain't crashing out when they get mad. Right. They're making sound decisions, better decisions than, we ain't saying they don't get fucked up and go do coke and shit. They probably do worse drugs than we do. But they trying to make a little bit of better decisions because they probably grew up in the house. Remember that one time we were talking about how finances and whatever class you in kind of allots you the time to go do these things like therapy. So the better off you are financially, you have time to bring your kids to see therapists. It's some of them kids that's seen therapists at 8, 10, 11, and 12. You know what I mean? So.
And I think as far as like your past trauma or past experience and stuff like that, we have to get out of the space as women also for removing what society has told us about what things mean. Yeah. If a man is hard, that's good. Yeah. Whole time, this man is not an emotional bone in his body. Right. And you don't realize until you're deep off in a relationship, like, this is what I really need. I really need to feel safe. I really need to, and not physically safe if somebody come up fighting you. Because 9 times out of 10, how many times in a relationship has somebody threatened
exactly,
you and
exactly.
you even needed that type of protection?
Exactly.
So it's just,
unless y'all on some raw shit.
Yeah.
Unless that's how y'all get down.
Exactly. And so I think that we just have to remove what society has told us about men, even down to us saying like men don't cry, being comfortable with a man coming to you and crying and not getting on the phone with your homegirl like, girl, this nigga is so soft. This nigga, like, you have to be able to recognize it. Like, I'm a woman. This is a man. We pass believing
we're human.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just,
but it's awkward to think like that.
But even like men, like we think that, oh, you have a lot of male friends. Oh, you a hoe. Or you promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? It's like things that society has taught us that don't even ring truth really in real life. Like when you, in a grand scheme of things, it don't mean anything, or it's not a healthy way of even thinking about somebody. Right. Especially somebody that you want to be in a relationship with. But I have another thing that I feel like women do in relationships, and it's looking into the potential of men. Okay. And I feel like that's another negative, what would I say? A negative pattern, I guess. And let me just pick him because he could be a good father. He could be, and we think we can kind of easy bake oven a nigga.
Because it goes back to the dating pool that we're offered altogether. Mm-hmm. Like, we have this small, very handful of people, men, who actually do the right thing, like the focus on themselves, like try to get their career, all that in order, and then find love, but then you have we got this small like river, and then you have this big ocean over here of people who dating at 14 and just trying to get a quick nut. They watch porn and this is what they think love is. This is what they think that two men and women supposed to do, like, because what do we know? We know not our mamas and daddies showing affection and nothing. We know BET Uncut. We know the music videos. We know, you know what I'm saying? We know what we see every day. We don't know therapy and communicating language and actually valuing women. Oh, being nice to women. That's a shocker. Like that's not anything that is taught to young boys in a Black community a lot of times. So, I mean, I ain't gonna say I don't blame them, but it's like that unlearning. Like I was just telling you, like my mom nobody told me to make sure you picking this kind of guy and this kind of guy. And so they mama's probably telling you, just make sure don't no woman use you up. Don't be don't let no woman gold dig you, use all you. Whole time you ain't even taught them how to get nothing. Right.
So even what we talking about? Then you ain't got no gold. You ain't told them how to get no gold.
You ain't told them how to get nothing.
No, it's true. And sometimes I think too, just as women though, I know, for instance, I was thinking about somebody that I know, and sometimes she over spiritualizes things. And she, instead of looking at things as, no, he's really not that person for you. Mm-hmm. And she'll try to say stuff like, you have to be patient with people, you have to give people grace, or you have to, God said just time, and everything don't come. And sometimes all of those things can be true, but we gotta call a spade a spade. Yeah. And this is another thing, real quick. What qualifies somebody to be a low value man in your book?
A low value man? Oh, somebody who's not self-aware of the things that they do. Mm-hmm. Somebody who is not actively working on themselves in some kind of way. Okay. It don't have to be you going to a therapist. You could be working on yourself. Yeah, the gym might be your mentor. You could be going to church. That might be helping your mentor. You might be slowing down on different things that you do or eat or consume, things that you watch that helps your mental. So whatever you doing on your journey, as long as you are journeying and you not hoping that your same high school ways are paying off and they gonna work on the next woman. As long as you're evolving from each relationship and each situationship and each friendship and learning something, I feel like you got a little value to you.
Yeah, I think whenever you think about a low value man is not a perfect man. I don't think that's what it
No.
is. I think it's somebody that comes with the basics though. I think the person that comes with
You mean a high value man?
yeah, a high value man. A low value man is somebody that doesn't come with the basics.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have the character, you don't have the emotional intelligence, you don't have and I want to make sure we're not saying like broke, but you don't have the drive or the ambition to
even get to where you going. You know, you want me to hop in this car passenger seat, but you gotta be a good driver,
right?
You know, this can't be your first time pulling off the lot.
Exactly. And more than anything, just having those true leadership qualities.
Yeah.
I was recently talking to a man about what is leadership, and I said I gave him a option, and I said, what is leadership to you? I said, is it responsibility or fairness? And immediately he was like, responsibility.
Okay.
And I said, oh, okay. I said, so why are you telling me about somebody else is doing the same thing that they're telling you that you're doing? If you're the leader, I said...
And responsibility is responsibility regardless.
Exactly. And I gave the analogy and I was like, okay, this person is telling you, say for instance, you're a leader, a king of a village. And this village comes to you and says something like, excuse me, the village, the well has ran dry.
Yeah.
And then you tell them, well, the well ran dry 2 weeks ago. What does that have to do with having water today? You get what I'm saying? Like,
what about the well over there? In Canada?
They well dry too.
Right.
You know, so the fairness in like, oh, if you can do it, I can do it. That puts you equal to a woman, whoever you are supposed to be leading, that puts you equal to them at that point. So how are you separating yourself to being this leader that you are claiming to be if you're equal to the very person that's supposed to be following you?
Right.
And if you don't provide solution, if you don't give take responsibility for things, then that doesn't make you a leader. That just makes you another person, or
that's the main thing I was trying to stress last episode. Like, it doesn't matter what the woman does. Like, all that. Oh, but women made, this is a reactive, this is a this is a that. But we responsible for our actions too. Just like y'all responsible for y'all actions. We got a role, we have a purpose, we have a responsibility, just like y'all do. And if we not taking it serious or not doing what we supposed to do, y'all have the right to tell us about that too.
Right.
But as long as we talking about y'all, it's not a, but you did this. It's not a, but you did that. You don't, that's not how you, when somebody come to you with a problem, and I hate when people do this. If I come to you with a problem, don't say, oh, well, I did that because the other week you did this and I didn't say nothing to you, so I did it. No, that was your fault for not saying something.
Right.
Like, I didn't tell you not to say nothing. I didn't know I did it.
Right.
You know, that was your
that was your opportunity to say, hey, you talking to me, or are you doing something that's
right. It ain't even have to be at the moment. If you needed to let it process, but you let all this time pass by until I did something for you to get it back, that's tit for tat. That's not being a responsible friend. That's not being a responsible partner. That's not being responsible for your somebody you care about feelings.
Right. Another thing that a lot of time we talk about in the space of how to find a man, when to get a man, and all the things is standards, having a certain amount of standards. And standards, I believe, they have to be attached to some type of consequences.
Yeah.
And so when I think this is another thing that may help break some of those patterns, when you create standards that are attached to not just standards, but just attached to some type of consequences. What's going to happen? Okay, when you don't get the consistency, when you don't get the honesty, the respect, the communication, the emotional intelligence, when you don't get all of those things, what's going to happen after that? And
you have to make a decision, a boundary. You know what I'm saying? I watch this little show all the time. It's called the Karamo Show, something like a New Age Maury with a black gay man leading the thing. And he says that all the time. Like, he asks the people as he's going on, like, so if we find something on your man, or we find out that X, Y, and Z, what are you gonna do afterwards? You know what I'm saying? You now you have the information, just like we were talking about the execution part of it. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. What do you think the difference is between a standard and a preference?
A standard shouldn't be budging. You shouldn't budge your standard more. Preferences can be changed throughout life. It's just what you do or don't like. I like you some days and some days I don't hell. Like we just, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a preference. I prefer to like you today.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I think preferences are nice to have. They're things that are nice to have, and then standards are those things that are non-negotiable.
Right. They should be like boundaries. You said, attached to your morals or something. They're closer to how you feel life should be as a person, like what you believe in. So yeah, I think that's more closer to what standards is. It's closer to a boundary.
Yeah. I would say that breaking these patterns, you got to kind of like do a self audit of yourself.
Oh, of course.
You know, figure out what did I ignore? When you get out of these relationships and you realize that this person wasn't the person for you, and you see that this stuff is happening over again, it's like a set of questions that, you know, you should be able to have. So what are some self-reflection questions women should ask themselves after leaving unhealthy relationships?
Ooh, what role did I play in making this a toxic environment? What boundaries did I let slide and not speak up on and say I didn't like in the beginning that got us here? What did I keep on sweeping under the rug that made him think that it was okay to keep on pushing his luck in this manner? I do that a lot. I self-reflect after all my relationships. I kind of do it to a fault to where I'm not actually leaving a little bit of accountability on where it needs to be. You know what I mean? But I have to. I have to. Because a lot of times, and depending on what the relationship is, you cut them people off and you never hear from them again. Sometimes you could send them a little long, you know, saying this is how my conclusion of all this was.
Right.
And they could send an okay back. They could block you. They don't have to say anything back. So that whole closure thing, that's more so for you. So I have to look at me. I can't assess what they doing.
Right. And so this is what I want to do for the viewers. So I have what is called a relationship pattern audit. So I want you to write down your last 3 to 5 relationships or situationships, whatever y'all like to call them, and identify what attracted me to him. What or her. Well, for him, because this is for women. This is for the ladies. We talk to y'all niggas, y'all didn't. So this is for the ladies, okay? What attracted you to him? What red flags showed up early? Things that you noticed, and like T said, you kind of swept under the rug. What did I excuse? What are those red flags, and what did I excuse? What did I keep hoping would change? Because a lot of times we hope for certain things that would change and they never do. And that is something that you need to say, for my next relationship, I'm not going to hope that this changes, because this is obviously something that I can't go without.
Right.
I'm going to make sure this at the top of the list. Okay? Sometimes we got to go through stuff to put stuff on the list.
And then you got to assess yourself to make sure your list right. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
See what you're checking for. Making sure, because once you actually like somebody and you want to say, oh, well, I guess I can go without that. Is it really in your boundary? Like, do you need to?
Are you neglecting yourself to do?
You need to revisit that. Are you putting something up there that you done seen and you taking on from somebody else, or are you actually feeling like that and neglecting yourself, like you said?
Right. The last 3 are what was my role in staying too long? What do these men have in common? What do I need to choose differently next time? Those are some pattern audit things that you can kind of ask yourself and answer those questions, so you won't fall back into the next time. And if you got to write these down and take your notepad,
don't worry about it. I'll have the link in the description.
But even I'm just saying, like, if you got to take these on the next date you go on, just to make sure you don't keep repeating these same patterns, like, that's important too. You can do that. You can have, real quick, the last nigga I chose had, do you have,
so it can be fresh on your brain when you get there. You know, if you don't think about these things, some of this shit happened 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Exactly.
So you get on a date, he get to showing you this, and you done forgot. Earl did that to you 6 years ago.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It started off just like that, but you so in lust with the same person in a different font.
That's what it be. That's exactly
it be the same person in a different font. And I don't want that for y'all, sisters.
Please.
I don't.
And real quick, so once we get into these relationships, once we find this high value man, I want to talk about also how to hold men accountable as women. Like, how do we keep?
I thought you was going to say a little self check.
Oh, We could do that, but real quick, let's see how we can make sure we're holding these men accountable to the things that we might have already gave them, the checklist that we gave them already.
Okay.
Or just the not even a checklist, just the quality of life that you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
How we holding these men accountable. Sometimes accountability is not begging a man to act right. It's just giving truth, watching the patterns, and adjusting.
Yes.
And I feel like we do this often, but we don't do that last part, which is adjusting to what we need to do. When they show us the disrespect, when they show us the inconsistencies, we don't adjust. We kind of just sit quietly, wait, whatever we do, right?
Right.
So what is the difference between holding the man accountable and trying to control him to you? What do you think the difference in those two are?
Once you set the standard to like the boundary that you have already, like I said, assessed the boundary, you made sure that this is something that you feel like you absolutely need out of a partner, you need in life. Okay, then you can put that on the list. You let them know how you feel. I can give you an example of in my personal life. I had talked to my boyfriend a while ago, and we kind of put together not an ultimatum, but like a goal. Like, okay, by this time, we want you to have X, Y, and Z done. And then once you see them move on those patterns or not, you just kind of make a mental note. And then once you get to that time, do what you need to do. Either go for it or don't. Bring it up again. Tell them, hey, I've noticed this. We can do, we could try it again if you feel like it's necessary. But don't keep on trying it if you notice that the pattern is not changing. And then also to self-check yourself. Once he start doing good, don't try to move the goalpost for him. I noticed I started doing that. Like, he started getting towards the thing that I said you have to have. And now I'm like, okay, now let's check off a couple more boxes. But hold on.
Don't try to control. That's the control.
That's control. That's why I had to pump my brakes. And I'm like, hold on. He's doing what we sat down, talked about, agreed on. Like, all right. So that's why I say kind of check your list and then make sure you just setting your boundary and being stern on it.
Right. And as far as I know, it shows up a little different in marriages, because sometimes I'll be honest and say, like, some of the things that I should have been looking for prior to getting married, I didn't even know to look for them. Right. So once you get into a marriage, sometimes it's not as easy, especially once kids are involved. It's not one of them things where you like, oh, you ain't meeting my standard.
Right.
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna be honest. It was never that easy for me. But one of the things that my therapist taught me was it's 3 things that people normally do whenever they're going through a situation to where they feel like they're not in the best situation that they could be in.
Okay,
and that's the first one is that they try to change. They do all these controlling things. You gotta change. They fuss. They fight. You gotta change. They try to change a person, and we all know that we can't change anybody, right?
Oh,
you can't
like me.
Yeah, you can't change anyone. And so it's and the thing about trying to change somebody is, even if you could change them, it doesn't last long because it's not what
they're doing it. They didn't want to do it. They're doing it. Yes.
Okay. So then we have once you try to change them, and then the second thing is to leave. Like, bye, you ain't doing what I want, bye. But a lot of times what I noticed and what he was telling me that he noticed is the people that leave once they're not getting their needs met are also unhealed people as well, and they don't recognize that. They're so hyper focused on what
everybody else is doing to them.
Not even what everybody else is doing, but what they want. They want what they want. I want my man to be this. I want my man to do this. I want my man, that they forget that you also have a person over here wanting you to do
something too.
And so they try to they like, oh, I'm gone. But what happens is you run into the same person, these patterns.
Those are the people who don't do any self-reflection. Those are the people who leave the relationship and say, it was all them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do what I wanted them to do.
Only to find out that it wasn't all them, because now you have another them.
Right.
And the last
you're a bad listener.
Yeah. And the last one was to stay and build yourself up to the best version of yourself, going to therapy, breaking all of those patterns, those the things that you have wrong with yourself, and then deciding later. Because it's very, very hard for somebody to do all of the work and for that other person to not jump off on them. You know what I'm saying? In some way or fashion. And if it doesn't, then that's a clear indicator that nigga, nothing.
That's like that response thing that with what's her name? Mel Robinson, when that video you sent me, when she was like, if you respond to people who are like dickheads, like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, and
or were
they
you
gonna
saying
feel,
that to insult me?
right. They gonna feel like the ones who are, so if you don't catch on to this niceness, if you don't catch on to this therapy conversation I'm giving, you gonna feel like the one, or you're gonna look like the one that is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, you the problem,
Yeah.
When the argument started, if I'm talking like, well, I feel like this is this and this, and you talking about, well, last time we talked, you was you gonna look crazy.
Yeah.
You gonna look like the one that's
the problem.
Yes, I understand you. I really do.
And actually, it's funny that you you said that, because I had wrote down like healthy and unhealthy ways to control, like, you know, which one sounds like control and which sounds like accountability. And we have the unhealthy. Why you ain't text me back? Who were you with? Let me see your phone. You better not have done this again. That's very much unhealthy. Very much unhealthy. If you go into it like that, first of all, you got to consider a man's ego at all times. Exactly. Unfortunately, but not even unfortunately, because they have to consider our emotions. Emotions all the time. So you have to consider a man's ego at all times. So when you go in like that, automatically you have to be looking for a negative response from a man, because you're not about to control them or make them feel like they being controlled.
Right. Or you're not finna bark at nobody and hope they back at you. Like,
and to be honest, you don't want no nigga that's gonna curse.
Exactly.
What they call them, the dogs that be
you don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
So the healthy thing would be to say is, I need consistency in communication. If that is not something you can offer, we may not be aligned.
Yeah.
And then you let him say, well, we are aligned. Hold up, baby, I don't want you to go, baby. I need
your friends. I need you to communicate a little better.
Yeah, so it's a difference from being a controlling and a lady, being a lady.
Yeah, I was just finna say that. I was finna say we got to get back to being soft and being a lady and just being like, yeah, baby, I don't want you to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, not, fuck nigga. Like, y'all ain't gonna get no response like that. Like, who you think finna talk to you like that?
Yeah.
Sherman?
Yeah.
You done turned into a whole little boy up in here. Like, why is she doing this, man? She done went from Cheryl to Sherman. I don't.
Right. Okay. And right before we leave, though, I wanted to say, what's another thing to hold, how another way to hold a man accountable is to pay attention to his response to accountability.
Okay.
A lot of men's response to corrections tells you everything you need to know about them, right? Yeah. A healthy man may not be perfect, but he can listen without being cruel. He can take responsibility without deflecting, saying what you did, how you played, you made me do. You know what I'm saying? Apologizing without blaming you for his reaction, because everybody is in control of their own response. And change the behavior and not just tell you like this speech about how, oh, my grandma died.
Right.
My boss got on me bad at work. Just
Yeah.
without giving you this long drawn out nothing. Like, and I think the best accountability is change behavior.
Yes.
And if a man is not changing his behavior after telling you that he's sorry for his behavior, that's a clear indicator that this man really probably not wanting to do what you want.
Right. He's saying sorry because so he can put the little Band-Aid on it again.
Yeah, and I
don't snatch that motherfucker.
Yeah, and I think like people been saying on Instagram, and not to be an Instagram girly, but the real highest form of love is consideration. To realize how something affects somebody, and then you see the impact that it made. Like my girl really
without them crying. Like it don't gotta be nothing that dramatic. Like, you need to see their feelings and their emotions when they're, especially if this is your person. Like, you need to know that. You need to be aware of that.
Right. To see that and still not make the necessary adjustments, it just really shows you, and it just tells you a lot about who they are. So I think being able to see how he responds to accountability is a big one. Yeah. If a man calls you dramatic, red flag. If he make everything your fault, red flag. Bring up unrelated issues when y'all talking about something, nigga, you just trying to find any way to get out of taking responsibility for what you did. Like, why are you bringing up The dishes
That didn't
last
have
week.
nothing to do with nothing.
Like, be so for real. But yeah, and making empty promises. Anytime a man makes empty promises, a man is supposed to stand on a person, period, is supposed to stand on your word, hold your word. What did a man call it, Kari, when what is it? Standing on your word? No, what is it? What do people be saying? Be a man of your word. I couldn't think of that. I don't know why. But being a man of your word, like, that's not a saying for nothing. Like, hold true to what you said. Like, you know? So I just think those are some ways to identify men that are willing to take accountability versus that are not. And a lot of times the men that are not are low-hanging fruit. So
yes. And y'all need to stay away from them.
Please.
Don't make them y'all homeboys. For real.
T, do you have anything else?
No, I think that was some good advice for the girls. I'm gonna paste them questions. We're gonna make a reel out of that one, but I'm gonna definitely paste them questions in the description because I think those are good things to consider while you dating, especially at this age. You should be intentional.
One question. We know we used to do what was it, last sip?
Yes.
I have 2 questions actually, but I'm gonna do 2 questions real quick. What red flags do women often explain away too quickly?
Explain away too quickly? The most obvious one, cheating. You know, that's what men gonna do. That's how men is. You know, that's how. I was watching another Karamo show the other day, and she came out there and was like, "Oh, my boyfriend did all this, and he came out there and was like, well, at one point in time, you gave me permission to go fuck with these hoes. Like, you know, you said do what you want to do, just don't get nobody pregnant." And she was like, "Well, that's just because you know men gonna do what they do." So I went ahead. Everybody in the audience was like, "Bitch, what you doing here?
Right.
Complaining about him cheating on you, and you told him go cheat on you."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, you kind of hit the nail on the head with that one. That's one of them ones. That's one of them ones.
That's what men gonna do. Like, no, it's not. That ain't what my man do.
Okay, so again, this is my last one, just to give the girls what they really looking for. What does a high value, emotionally mature man look like in action?
Somebody that's taking care of business. If he is pursuing you, ladies, make sure he is pursuing you, trying to learn what you like, get to know you. He ain't got to be tricking. It ain't got to be that. It ain't got to be that. I know y'all think that's what that equates to.
Every time.
But just remembering some of your patterns, some of your habits, you ain't got to repeat yourself to him. He's in tune with what you're talking about, what worries you, what excites you. That's somebody all the way into you.
Yeah. And I would just say somebody that considers you at all aspects of life. Like always considering you, how something is going to make you feel, whether it's something physical. Oh, I know that my girl is always cold. Let me put her a sweater in the back of my truck. Like, I just love the love things. And I feel like we need to get back to that. A man that's okay with showing love and being a simp, as they call it, without you feeling like you asking for too much. I feel like sometimes men put us in a box to where we feel like
women feel like they don't even want to ask.
Yeah. Like, it's like, you doing too much. You them niggas, they only do that on Instagram. That shit fake. Them niggas don't.
Right.
Like, bring back the shit that y'all think the niggas really don't do. Bring the shit back.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I think that's what makes a high value man, when somebody's just strong and standing in the fact that, I love this woman. I'm doing whatever it takes to make her happy.
Stop giving them excuses. Stop giving them reasons to be a sad nigga. If he is not doing all the things, he's not interested. I'm sorry. You got to stop giving them the coochie.
Stop giving them the coochie.
Like, nigga, gotta be quicker than that. Gotta be quicker than that. Like,
no, for real.
Gotta hold that bitch to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for this episode. Until next time.
Deuces.